Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Where am I? Okay. Y'all know how I am. I'm directionally challenged, so I gotta make sure I'm going the right way. The life and times of Tamara T. Bush. Today is Tuesday, and I wanted to hop on. I am coming off of the energy of a phenomenal weekend. I had the Image in the Mirror 2. This was part 2. Image in the Mirror movie premiere and book signing. It was absolutely amazing, and it was a lot going on these past few weeks. But I'm glad we were able to get through this. It was very emotional. It was very, very emotional. It was so very needed. It was needed. And I did the video the other day where I spoke about how we need to, address our trauma. Need to address it, because if you don't address it, how can you heal from it? How can you heal from it? Part of the stigma in the Black community and other communities, well, not all communities, but I know in my community, we don't talk about our trauma, and we don't address the things that we need to address, and we just sweep it under the rug, and next thing you know, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years passed, and we're not understanding why we can't maintain relationships, and we're having all these issues. We have all this baggage. We can't control our emotions, and we really don't understand why. We don't understand why. And that's part of the issue. It's part of the issue. So what it is that we have to be intentional about protecting our mental, physical, psychological, and our financial and our credit spaces, because it all ties into one. Because if you're not dealing with your trauma, how can you take the necessary steps to propel your family forward into any sort of financial freedom, entrepreneurship, business, because there are some underlying issues that you haven't dealt with. So it's going to be hard for you to be able to adequately communicate, to adequately plan, and there's going to be some elements missing. There's going to be some voids there because we didn't properly address our trauma. It all ties in together. It absolutely ties in together. And it also ties into you knowing who you are when you don't deal with that trauma, because if you don't know who you are, you can't put yourself in check when certain situations arise, and you're in denial with certain situations because you don't know who you are. You're operating off of a false sense of self. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm driving. I drive fast on the highway, so I'll be trying to get there. I don't do the speed limit. I probably should, but I don't. Because in my mind, when I get out here, I'm invisible. Can't nobody see me. That's just me pumping myself up. But y'all know who I'm talking about when I say I'm invisible. Y'all know who be out here lurking. They can't see me though. I can't even tell you the last time I got one of those things. We ain't gonna say the word, but it's just the way it is. It's how it is. Where am I? Get over. Right, so we, like I was saying before, if we don't address those underlying issues, how are we gonna, how are we going to really protect our babies if we can't protect ourselves? I was having a conversation with someone close to me, and they were saying that they are constantly in fear of certain things happening to their children because of what they went through. And I told her, I said, there's some things that you're going to have to let go in order for you to be able to move forward, because you're harboring elements of things that happened to you as a young girl, and you have not fully healed from those things. So there's some blockages in the mind that you can't get past. You can't move forward because you got blockages, honey. There's some things that you have to let go. And I said that you really, really need to speak to someone, because when you have a certain type of trauma that you've dealt with in your life, it's going to contribute to the way that you think, perceive, and see the world. And so when someone comes to try to talk to you about business, you're like, business? What are you talking about? You can't receive the information. You can't receive what the creator is trying to download into you through the people that he strategically places in your life. You can't receive the information because your thought processes is clouded by trauma. It's like a chain around you that you can't break free from. You can't break free from it. And what I realized over the weekend is that by me telling my story of growing up in a house with domestic violence, I no longer live in that story. I can now stand on that story and use that story to help myself heal, to help myself move forward, and to help other people that may have been dealing with the same issue as a child growing up in a house where there was domestic violence, right? And so because I've been able to take the steps to put that behind me, it opened up the doorway for me to be able to accomplish other things. It opened up the door for me to begin to want to learn and read certain things, right? Because I'm trying to get away from the poverty mindset that was around me when I was growing up. Because that poverty mindset is what contributes to, along with mental illness and some of the other things that we struggle with, those things contribute to violence among ourselves. It contributes to domestic violence, right? When parents are constantly having to argue about money, they don't see a way out of their current situation, so they take it out on one another, by abusing each other mentally, physically, psychologically, financial abuse is a real thing. Financial abuse is a real thing. And I think a lot of women struggle with being and men too, but a lot of women struggle with being financially abused, and what that would look like if you are a woman that's married and your husband is the breadwinner, and you know that you can't leave, that if you were to leave, you won't have any money and you don't have any education, then that's financial abuse, because they're taking something and holding it over your head and they're using it as leverage to control you. That's what financial abuse is. It's different types of abuse, and I've seen a good amount of abuse. You have to know how to identify abuse. But the purpose of this video is to talk about protecting yourself, protecting your mental space, protecting your physical space, protecting your financial space and your credit space. They really all tie into each other, and you can't work on one without working on the other, because at some point you're going to hit a brick wall. It's going to stop you dead in your tracks, and you're going to have to regroup to try to figure out what the heck is going on with yourself, so that you can move past the issue that you're having, so you can begin to do your life's work. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? We got to deal with our trauma, y'all. We cannot keep sweeping this stuff under the rug. I had one of my aunts was at the movie premiere this weekend, And I remember having a conversation with her on her birthday last year, you know, and she was like, did you ask your mother or did you ask your father if it was okay for you to talk about this, or, you know, did you get their permission, or you know, why are you telling this story? Why are you doing this? You know, and I had to just explain to her. I'm like, look, it's my story to tell. It's my story to tell. It's not. They have their story. They can tell their story however they want to tell their story. But this is something that I need from my healing. You can't take my healing away from me. This is my story to tell. You just gonna have to get over it. Like, straight up, you just gonna have to get over it, because I'm tired of stuff happening in our family and they're not exposing the abusers. They're not exposing these people. And so when you don't expose them, you give them more power when you don't expose them. You give them more power, you know, and it has control over you. It controls you when you don't talk about stuff. It torments you. It controls you, you know. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my son. I have very candid and transparent conversations with my son all the time, you know, about abuse. He was at the movie premiere, you know, so, but he already knew a lot of the story. And the story needs to be told, because these kids that's coming behind us, these children, our children, they come from us. So they need to know who we are. How can you send your son and your daughter out in the world to conquer the world when they have no sense of where they come from and who their parents were? They're going out into the world blind because they can't identify with who they are, because they don't have enough information to operate with. They don't have enough information. That's the missing piece to the family unit, is when we don't talk about our trauma. So because I have those conversations with my son, and I speak to him where he is in life, right? He's still a child. He's only going to be 14 years old. So I have to, when I speak to him, I have to be very cognizant of where he is in his own journey, right? So that it's not overwhelming to him, so that he can hear me and understand where I'm coming from, and understand how some of the things that I went through in my life shaped me to be the person that I am, and how it molded me into the type of parent that I am, the type of wife that I am, you know, the type of teacher that I am. He needs to know these things. He needs to know who his mother is, just like he needs to know who his father is. He needs to know who his grandparents were. There's some things that he's going to have to deal with in his life. And so he can think back and reflect back on his lineage and be like, okay, I know that this is in me. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with this, right? You know, in the book, I speak about my father, The Image in the Mirror too. I talked about my father, and I spoke about his temper. And the reason why it was important for me to tell this story is because I'm my father's daughter, and so I have a temper as well. And over the years, I would always try to understand why I was always so mad all the time. I was angry, just mad and angry, you know. And I didn't realize while I were having these thoughts that it was because of what I witnessed as a child growing up with my mom, my dad beating up my mom on a regular basis. Like, anyway, I won't go into all of that, but it does affect you. It affects you if you've had people in your family that have been abusers, or they've been addicted to drugs, and so because of their addictions, they've done certain things. They stole from you, they manipulated you. All of these things cause trauma. We have to deal with our trauma. And so, you know, one of the other protections that I wanted to speak about is protecting your financial assets, your name, right? Because that's one of the things that we don't do, and we find ourselves in a situation where people are using our financial assets. Okay, so let me back up for a second. Okay, so what is a financial asset? If you go to UCC 9 and you look up the definition of financial asset, it's going to basically it's going to tell you that a financial asset is something that's being held by a securities intermediary, right? Oh, I'm supposed to be turning right here, y'all. I'm like talking and about to miss my turn. A financial asset is something that's held by a securities intermediary. Okay, so what is a securities intermediary? Securities intermediary is any financial institution that you're doing business with, right? Okay, so when you go to open up that account, or you go to apply for that credit card, or you go to apply for the loan, whatever the financial product is that you're applying for, the information that they're collecting in order to open up that account is considered a financial asset. And so when you back it up a step further and you go and look at the definition of what is a credit card, right? When you go to Truth in Lending, 15 USC 1602 A, and you look up the definition of a credit card, and it's the same definition that's in the CFR code, right? Definition of a credit card, it tells you that it's any plate, coupon book, can't remember the exact terminology, but basically a credit card is for an extension of credit. So when you think of any, remember in legalese, any means all. So any information that can be used for an extension of credit is a credit card. Okay, so if that encompasses any information, then what is your credit card information? When you think about it, your credit card information is your name, your address, your social security number, your telephone number, right? Your driver's license. It says any information. So if the securities intermediary is collecting any information from you that they need in order to open up the account, that is considered your credit card. And your credit card, when I take it and bring it together as a whole, I'm thinking of your credit card and your credit card information as being a financial asset that's held by a securities intermediary. Okay, so how do you protect your financial assets? Your name, your address, your driver's license, all of these things that you use every single day to conduct business and commerce. Because the thing of the matter is, the financial asset is the very thing that these people are using against us to get money out of us when they're supposed to be paying us. Come on. And so because we haven't properly protected our financial assets, we don't have a claim. What claim do you have? We don't have a claim, y'all, because we haven't properly protected our financial asset. The one financial asset that is probably the most important thing to protect is your name. What is the name that's on your birth certificate? What's the name? What is the name? First name, middle name, last name. Because remember, you are not the all caps name that's on your birth certificate. That is an entity that was created by the state. But guess what? You're the only person that doesn't have control of the name. You're the only person that doesn't have control of the name. So what we really are is we are a natural person in control of a U.S. citizen or a U.S. corporation that it appears to be us, but it's not us. So how do you protect the name? How do I get to the comments? Let's see. How do you protect the name is the question. How do you protect other people from using your name, your financial asset, right? That's one of the things that we have to explore. And so our names are already out here in commerce being used by everybody else. They are pulling interest from the name. As soon as we give someone our name, we give value to whatever the transaction is, right? We give value to it. There is nothing without us. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing without us. And so our financial assets are floating around all over this world, and everybody's making money and collecting interest off of our name except for us, because we haven't properly protected the name. And so every single day I have a new revelation about this in my studies. I'm just like, man, think about it. How valuable is a name? Think about all of these corporations out here that have their names protected and trademarked and copyrighted and all of that. And so anytime that their name is being used, they get to collect money. They get to control the narrative. They get to provide instructions to those parties that are using the name. Either pay me or do what I want you to do. So in your journey to begin to go after those things that you know that you're entitled to, one of the foundational aspects to doing that is protection. You have to protect your name, just like you have to protect your mental space, your physical space, your psychological space, your financial and your credit space. The name is one of those things that is the one element that we don't think about when we're out here doing business. That's the one thing that we're failing at, is protecting our name, our person. So how do you protect the name? You incorporate your name. You do the DBA. You do the trademark copyright application, right? How do you protect your assets? You file UCCs against your assets. That's how you protect it, or you put your assets in trust. So if you're out here trying to get remedy and you're not getting any sort of remedy, go ahead and protect your name, because I guarantee you that once you do that, the conversation is going to change with these lenders. They won't have a choice in doing what it is that you want them to do. They won't have a choice. They won't have a choice. You protect your name, and then you create your fee schedule for the use of the name. Any violation thereof, I'm going to collect X. You pay me X. Protection of your complete and total person is key. We are not protected. We're not protected. I was watching a video yesterday that infuriated me. Listen, and I have to bring this up. Y'all know I'm from Buffalo, New York, right? I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I left Buffalo, New York back in 2005, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been here ever since. I go home often. All of my family is still in Buffalo. Well, except for my mom. My mom is here in North Carolina as well. My brother is in Atlanta. But everybody else is still in Buffalo. Everybody else is still in Buffalo. Well, you know, a few people moved out to other states, but 90% of my family is still in Buffalo, right? And so I don't watch the news. I'm not plugged into any news outlets. A lot of the time, the majority of the time, really, when I find out about information, I find out because somebody texted me or called me to tell me what was going on. So when the mass shooting happened in Buffalo, I'm like, what? What? I was completely floored, dumbfounded. My stomach dropped. My heart ached. And two of those people that were in the grocery store are extended family members. When I say extended, the security guard was the uncle of one of my cousins, and then there was another elderly lady that was the aunt of one of my cousins. So they're extended family. I didn't know them personally, but the impact for me was still the same, because I consider them all my peoples, right? And I'm just like, I'm still angry and upset. I do realize that we need to continue to push forward, but it just took me back to the very point that I'm making right now, because there could potentially be a situation in the future where the family members of all of these victims receive absolutely no type of anything for their loved ones being snatched away from them in an instant. And the fact that this person pled not guilty, whoo, child, there's all kinds of words that I could say right now. I was going all the way off. I was going all the way off because you're a coward. You're a coward. You are a coward. You live streamed it, and then you had the audacity to plead not guilty. What world are we living in? What world is we living in right now? Please, somebody explain this to me. What world is we living in right now? But it took me back because a lot of those people probably didn't even have life insurance. They probably didn't have life insurance. There was no protections in place for them. So what form of compensation are they going to get outside of the $250 that the government issues to you when someone in your family dies? There's no protection. And they probably didn't have their assets in the trust. I don't know this to be the case. I'm just, and some people may have. I just don't want to stereotype the community and say they didn't have any protection. Some of them may have, but you all know we've heard stories of different people that have passed on and transitioned and they didn't have any sort of protections in place for themselves, and then their family members have to try to scramble to come up with money to bury them or cremate them. It happens every single day, and I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. These people, these corporations are literally making money off of our name every single day, off of our likeness every single day. They have taken our position. They pretend to be us. They took our position and they're claiming our interest on our financial assets. And it's freaking disgusting. It's disgusting to me. And part of what upset me with this whole situation too, with the Buffalo, with the mass shooting in Buffalo, is that how dare you tell me how I'm supposed to feel right now? How you gonna sit up here and tell me how I'm supposed to feel? Don't do that. Don't do that to people. Don't tell them how they're supposed to feel. You have to allow people to go through their own grieving process. You have to allow people to feel. Right now, society is so desensitized from a lot of the violence that we've been seeing, which is why they can sit up there and film with their cell phone instead of helping the person who's in distress. They can sit up there and film it with their cell phone because they're so desensitized to the violence and the images that their humanization is gone. And so when something like this happens, you got people that got the nerve to tell you to let it go. Oh, they're already passed away. Let it go. There's nothing that you can do. The people are already gone. No. Don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel. And so unfortunately, when something like that happens, it gives a person like me more ammunition and more fuel to continue to do what it is that I'm doing to educating the people. Because if we're not properly protecting ourselves when something like this happens, we have no recourse. We don't have recourse. We have no recourse against those quote unquote powers that be to collect what is rightfully ours. We don't have no recourse. And it's so sad, y'all. It is so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. So, and so the first thing I did is I called my dad, because that Tops, where that happened at on Jefferson. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but they've closed down a number of grocery stores in Buffalo. They closed down the Tops that was closest to my dad's house. He lives off of Fillmore. They closed that Tops down, so the people in that area have to go further away to go grocery shopping. And so Jefferson is the next closest tops to his house. And so I called him. That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh my God. And so when I talked to him, he's like, no, I didn't go out today. I was at home. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. That's the next closest one to his house. And so all of these emotions and all of these thoughts go through your head when you hear something like this. My people in Buffalo is just, they scared, y'all. They scared to go out. They scared to go to the grocery store. This is a new trauma. We already got trauma. This is a new trauma that we're dealing with now. People got anxiety and butterflies in their stomach. They've been posting on social media all over the place. It's freaking insane. And then you got other people out there like feeling sorry for the shooter, talking about, oh, well, he had his whole life ahead of him. Really? Boy, when I tell you, this world is so backwards. The evil, just evil people out here. Just evil for no reason. Evil for no reason. So why is it that one demographic of people makes it a point, and they're very intentional about oppressing another demographic of people? My question is this: if you're the so-called chosen ones, or why are you so hell-bent on oppressing those that you feel are beneath you? If we're so beneath you, then why do you continue to oppress us? If you are really the chosen ones, then go be chosen, go be great, go be free, and leave us the hell alone. Why do you continue to oppress us? That says a lot. We all bleed the same blood. All of us bleed the same blood. The same red blood. So it's time for us to take our power back, y'all. And it ain't gonna be by marching and singing. I can tell y'all that right now. It's not gonna be marching and singing. It's gonna be, we have to go into a paperwork war. We have to have paper wars. We have to go at war via the paperwork. That's what we're gonna have to do. When we begin to express the Sesta KV trust, when we begin to express our trust, these people are not going to have any choice but to fall in line. They're not going to have anything but to fall in line. You have to begin to express your trust and exercise your rights as the beneficial owner of the name. Right now, we out here doing business. We're not properly signing receipts. We're not properly signing our documents as the beneficial owner. You have to begin to express yourself as the beneficiary. So anytime that you speak to these people, any and everything that they do has to be for your benefit. But you can't claim beneficiary if you haven't secured the name. Does that make sense? Let me know that I'm making sense, y'all. Let me go back and read some of these comments and see what y'all have in here. My heart has been heavy these past few weeks. It really has. Oh, let me see. Peace and love to y'all. I missed y'all. I missed y'all. Yes, we are all one vibration and energy, one consciousness and one mind. Come on, traveling to the vibration of the love and light of the highest level. Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, Cassidy. Copyright, trademark. Trademark and copyright. That's right. That's right. That's right. And so when you do that, y'all go ahead and order your merchandise, because you're going to have to provide evidence that the name is being used in commerce. Go ahead and get a free website. You should be able to get a free website. And well, when you go to GoDaddy and purchase your domain name, GoDaddy will actually give you a free website for a short period of time for you to get your stuff up. I will order merchandise, right? Pens, coffee cups, t-shirts, and put your name on it, like the name that's on your birth certificate. You have to show that it's being used in commerce in order for them to grant you the trademark copyright, right? So you definitely want to do that. But it's all in protection. It's all in the protection of the name. It's all in the protection of the name. Let's see. Yep. Yep. Your ID, your social security card. And don't just think that it's just the social security card. It's all of your financial assets that they're asking for to get these accounts open. Yep, and they're using them as leverage. It's some deep stuff, y'all. Deep. When I tell y'all it's so deep, yep, sign without prejudice. There you go. ID, social security card. And they got this system running like a well-oiled machine. They believe they can tell us because they have been telling us what to do, how to think for so long. Our silence to them equals compliance to them. Yes, yes. Oh, absolutely. Silence is acquiescence. Silence is acquiescence. We are becoming a higher understanding. We are at peace to bring our consciousness into the now moment, into the presence where the power of healing and peace truly resides. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The time is now. Show proof. Yeah, when we are connected to our divine self and stay. Yes, that part right there. It's time to get connected to your divine self. When you really think about it, commerce is spiritual. It's spiritual, y'all. It's spiritual. So where you have perfected your spiritual being, you also should be perfecting how you do business and commerce. To me, in my mind, it all ties together. It all ties together. It's time for us to get this work done. We got to get this work done. We got to do the work. We have to. It's been raining here, y'all, the last few days. I think we had a storm pass through here. I don't watch the weather. I'm not tapped into news. Like, when I tell y'all I'm so detached from like the public news outlets, because to me it's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. All of it. All of it. To me, it's a distraction to me. I don't know about everybody else, but it's definitely a distraction to me. Because it takes me away from my studies. It takes me away from my reading. So what I'm looking to do for the month of June, because I'm still riding the momentum off of this past weekend. It, like I said before, was absolutely phenomenal. In preparing for this weekend, I've had a lot of highs and lows because what happened in Buffalo, and I'm dealing with that, and then I'm still trying to process what's going on, and still at the same time taking the steps to do what we need to do, you know, in my family, and just move forward. I realized that there's something that I need to do. So I'm getting prepared for June 1st, to begin doing my videos again. Yeah, because it's time for us to study. So we're going to be doing a lot of reading, because this is the problem that, like I said before, and I'll say this again, but I said it on previous videos. There's a lot of different teachers out here teaching different information, but for me, I want to take a different approach, because I don't want y'all to be dependent on anything that I say. I just want to be able to show you the law, for you to study it, and then you have to gain your own understanding and move in a way that is advantageous to you specifically. Everybody has different journeys, so we got to learn the information for ourselves. We have to learn it for ourselves so that we can operate in truth. Because my truth is not your truth. Your truth is your truth. You have your own truth. And your understanding of the information may be a bit different. So just bear with me. I'm working on some things. The videos are coming. I'm going to be doing a series very soon. It's going to be very, very soon. So like I said, I just wanted to hop on, and I was leaving a colleague's house. I had to go and pick up an envelope from her. So now I'm back at the house. I'm about to go upstairs and get to work. But y'all just be on the lookout. Definitely set your notifications there, or not there. Set your notifications up so that when I do go live, you all will know. And I see YouTube is giving me a little bit more permissions, right? So now I can actually go in and post, or you know, I'm like, oh, okay. This is all new to me. So why is this thing still up here? Hold on. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. What is this? No, that's not what I want. I'm just trying to make that the comments disappear so that I can see, but okay. Yeah, so definitely something is coming up the pipe. But I'm super, super excited and proud from this weekend. It was absolutely phenomenal. The movie premiere was phenomenal. Excuse me, I haven't had, my stomach is empty. I had no breakfast today. I had a smoothie. I'm hungry. I'm about to go in here and make the smoothie. But yeah, just go ahead and begin to get your merchandise, do your copyright. The copyright is key. The copyright is key. And I definitely mentioned doing the DBA before. That is required. The DBA is required. The doing business as is required. So if you don't know what's supposed to be on your DBA, order a copy of your birth certificate, your original birth certificate, so that you can see how your name appears. And go ahead and get your DBA done. I know that there's going to be a lot of different nuances because people have changed their name due to different situation, marriage, and all of this stuff. But when you do your DBA, it's going to be based off of the name that's on your birth certificate. So regardless of if you have legally changed your name on your birth certificate or whatever that looks like, stick to the name that's on the birth certificate when you do your DBA. And that copyright is very, very important. So I will make sure that I link, I put the link in the description of this video when it renders, so that you all can have the copyright trademark application and website to go and begin to read it and look over it. It's a very, very, very lengthy process to do a trademark copyright, but it's necessary and it's gonna benefit you down the line. But we gotta take control of the name. We gotta protect the name. We have to protect the name, because when you get a letter from a debt collector or you get a letter from somebody, woo, they're already in violation just by sending you that piece of mail. They're already in violation. It's time to get that paper. It's time to get paid, y'all. Time to get paid. But yep, I am going to go ahead and hop off, so you all make it a very productive, prodigious, and prestigious day. I wish peace and blessings upon all of you. Thank you all so much for joining. I love you guys, and I will see you again very, 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 very soon. Peace and love, everybody.